Larry. I'd like to welcome everyone to our City Council meeting. We always appreciate having people join us, so thank you. For the record, it is Tuesday, January 24th at 6 o'clock. We'll start with roll call attendance. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Cavanagh.
Here.
Councilmember Milam.
Here.
Councilmember Palmer.
Here.
Councilmember Little Roberts.
Here.
Councilmember Borton.
Here.
Councilmember Byrd.
Here.
Mayor DeVeerd.
Here. Item number 2 is our Pledge of Allegiance. If you will all rise and join us in the pledge to our flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3 is our community invocation. Tonight will be led by Larry Woodard. He is with 10 Mile Christian Church. If you will all join us in the community invocation, or take this as an opportunity for a moment of reflection. Thank you for joining us, Larry.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the snow, but for many of us, you have given us more than we need. I thank you for this city leadership to address the road situation in our city. It reflects the kind of leadership we've grown to be accustomed to in Meridian, as we watch other cities who seem to be at a loss what to do with the snowfall. I pray the weather moderates and all people can get back to normal. We look forward to the upcoming State of the City report, where we will hear even more about what is happening in our city. Tonight, I want to ask you to continue your blessings on this city. I asked a young Vietnamese lady why she moved to Meridian, and she says, I went online and I saw that it was one of the safest cities in the nation. That's why I'm here. That says a lot about our city, and we thank the police and others who make it one of the safest. We thank you that none of the police were hurt today in the Cuna shooting episode, including some of our own men who went there. Tonight I want to focus on our nation as a whole. We have a new president, and from the march the next day, there remains deep divisions in our country. I pray for success with the new administration and that tempers and divisive thoughts and actions moderate. We want to be a peaceful people, but we have many economic and cultural issues to address. Please bind up our wounds and calm our fears about what lies ahead. In closing, I thank you for Mayor Tammy, each of the councilmen and women. Keep them healthy and safe in this winter weather, and may their collective wisdom continue this new year. Bless all in attendance tonight, I pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Larry.
You bet.
You're unreal.
You gave some very timely reminders, and I think everyone would say we've had our fair share and more of snow. It's beautiful, but we like to see it in the mountains, not in the valley. So item number 4 is adoption of the agenda.
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Byrd.
under consent agenda, item 5F, the staff has requested this item to be vacated. The modified development agreement needs to be approved prior to the final plat approval and is not yet. So both items should come back before the council at our next meeting for approval. Item 7C, the resolution number is 17-1194. And with that, I move we approve the amended agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All ayes. Item 5 is our consent agenda.
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Byrd.
as stated earlier, 5F has been asked to be vacated. With that, I move we approve the consent agenda for mayor to sign, the clerk to attest.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with the change as noted earlier. Mr. Clerk, will you call roll?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Cavanagh.
Aye.
Councilmember Mylum.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmer.
Aye.
Councilmember Little Roberts.
Aye.
Councilmember Borton.
Aye.
Councilmember Byrd.
Aye.
All ayes. There were no items moved from the consent agenda onto the regular agenda, so we'll move into action items under 7. 7A is a public hearing on H 2016-0135. I will open this public hearing with staff comments.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, and to you and the council. This is a short plat application for borough subdivision. The site consists of 5.57 acres of land zoned R15 and LO located at 1288 East Everest on the south side of East Chinden Boulevard, approximately quarter mile west of North Locust Grove Road. This property was annexed and zoned and included in the planned development and plat for Westboro Square subdivision in 2005. The applicant proposes a short plat right there, consisting of 2 building lots on 5.57 acres of land in the R15 and LO zoning districts. The proposed plat is a re-subdivision of the large Lot 6, Block 1 of Westboro Square subdivision, and a portion of the vacated North Jericho Road at the west boundary. Excuse me. The property is currently split zoned, as shown in this representation. The configuration of the proposed lots will coincide with the zoning boundaries. The street buffer, landscaping, and pathway along North Chinden Boulevard was previously constructed on the site with the previous development. Scott Noriyuki, the applicant, is in agreement with the staff report and has provided a written reply. Staff recommends approval with conditions in the staff report. With that, I will stand for any questions.
Council, any questions?
I have none this time.
Okay, would the applicant like to make comment?
Scott Noriyuki, Northside Management, 6810 Fair Hill Place, Boise, Idaho. I don't believe I have anything to add to it, but I will stand for any questions.
Thank you, Scott. Council, any questions for the applicant?
I have none.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to provide comment? Okay. Hearing none.
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Byrd.
I move that we close the public hearing on H 2016-0135.
Second. I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing on item 7A. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All ayes.
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Byrd.
I move we approve H 2016-0135 and include all staff applicant comments.
A motion and a second to approve item 7A. Any discussion from council? Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Cavanagh.
Aye.
Councilmember Mylum.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmer.
Aye.
Councilmember Little Roberts.
Aye.
Councilmember Borton.
Aye.
Councilmember Byrd.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carried. Item 7B is a public hearing on our park shelter fees. I'll turn this over to Mike.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. I'm here tonight to have a discussion on our proposed shelter fees that we're in the process or we've published to revise. Colin was here talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and during that discussion there were some specific questions that came up. I'm going to stand in for Colin this evening because some of those questions were more operational questions that maybe I'm better suited to answer. So really what I wanted to do is address some of the specific questions that were asked. And one of them was, how did we come up with this new fee structure? And basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to recover the cost, the direct staffing cost of what it takes to clean up both before and after a particular party. So when someone reserves a shelter, we need to go and we need to clean it after just general public use. Then they have their party, then we go back in and we clean it afterwards, whether it's for another reservation or whether it's for the general public. So there's some direct staff time that goes into that cleaning cost. If there's different shelter prices that are on that sheet, and the prices are based on the number of people that are likely to reserve that shelter. And it's based on our past history. It's based on, our experience that Shelter 1 at Settlers is likely to attract higher numbers of people than would be Shelter 2 or Shelter 3. So we've thought through each one of those and based our fees on those numbers. It also has to do with, there's a direct correlation between the amenities that are at a park and the number of people that the shelters are likely to attract. So in neighborhood parks where there aren't maybe the amenities that a Settlers or Kleiner has with a splash pad, they have smaller birthday parties of anywhere from 25 people to 40 people, and the fees reflect that. Where if you have a larger park with a larger shelter, they could go up to 200 people, 300 people. So therefore the higher fees. One of the other questions, Councilman Palmer specifically asked how much revenue our shelters generated last year. And we have it kind of lumped into temporary use permits, because temporary use permits, they have to reserve the shelters in the park as well. But last year, we had a total revenue of $102,000. And 102,899 to be exact. And the total number of shelters was almost 1,700. So as you can see, it's a pretty big effort to go out and clean these and keep them nice, and the public really desires that level of customer service. And it seems to be working well. We have a lot of good comments, and I guess with that, I'll be happy to stand for any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mike. Sorry, Dean. Thank you, Mike. Council, any questions?
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Kavner.
Mike, can you share with us why it takes less time, I guess, to clean and prepare a shelter at, say, Centennial Park as compared to Hillsdale Park Shelter 1? It seems that there's a $10 difference, and I think that I'm familiar, at least with the Centennial Park shelter.
Yep.
Just curious as to what makes one more timely over the other,
Yep.
or if this is a case of we thinking one shelter is more preferred over another.
Yeah, sure, good question. Madam Mayor, Councilman Kavner. So the shelter at Centennial Park is 20 by 20. There's a basketball court and a little play neos, and we've added a restroom, so the amenity value is there. But if you take a Hillsdale Park, the shelter that this fee is based on is 20 by 28, so it's larger. It'll attract larger crowds. There's also a small splash pad there and a more significant playground. So that one is likely to attract, where Centennial would have parties of 20 people, 20 to 30, that's about the max accommodations. You could go up to 75 at Hillsdale Park.
Madam Mayor, follow-up? Mm-hmm. So the assumption is because one may attract more people, that there would be more time?
Correct.
Madam Mayor, additional question, if I may. Have you tracked time? I think that was one of the questions that was brought to Colin, is how much time it takes somebody to come in and take care of one of these shelters in terms of, at least one of the comments that Colin had made was the time to take a reservation, the time to secure the reservation, time to make sure that the facility is prepared, and then the time to make sure it's cleaned up afterwards. And I guess, to me, that was the piece that I was really hoping to see tonight.
Yep, Madam Mayor, Councilman Kavner, that's a great question. And we have kind of a number of hours that we track our time.
Sure.
And we have 5,144 hours of staff time per season to service those shelters. As far as it individually, how much time it takes to clean one versus another, it all depends on the party. Did they have a cake fight?
Sure.
Did they, I mean, it could be a trophy presentation where they didn't have serve any food. It could be some people took advantage and they left a big mess. I mean, so it's kind of all over the board. But that gives you an idea of the effort. We don't track each one individually. We track the effort over the course of a season.
Sure. And Madam Mayor, if I may, I'm not looking for a specific time in a specific shelter. I guess averages would be helpful. And
Yeah.
to me, Madam Mayor, if I may, my issue is not with the time. I think that it's important that we recoup the time. I personally struggle with the city playing favorites as to which shelters we think are the most valuable and are therefore charging a higher rate to our taxpayers to be able to use it. I think it's important that we recoup our costs associated with it, but anything more than that, because we think Shelter A is better than Shelter B, I just think that that's not necessarily our role to say one is more valuable than the other, and you as a taxpayer need to pay accordingly.
And Madam Mayor, Councilman Cavanagh, that's really not it at all. This is based on the amount of time that it takes to clean up after the number of people that are likely to be in that shelter having a party. And just for example, the one at Centennial Park, we would figure that it takes two staff, 2 hours, and then there's some travel time. Where at a Kleiner, where they're significantly more expensive, you would have to go in, you would have to clean beforehand, and then you would have to clean up afterwards. And there's likely to be an effort of about 6 hours, 6 staff hours to clean that up. Those have grills at them that need to be serviced on occasion. There's just more to it. But it's based on, it's not based on amenity value of a park. Although the amenities are likely to attract bigger crowds, it's purely based on the number of people that attend a given shelter based on our experience.
Then, Madam Mayor, if I may, Mike, I'm struggling to wrap my head around that it takes 6 staff hours to clean up Kleiner Park Shelter A1, and this is the first that these councils hearing about that significant amount of time. I've seen when those shelters have been reserved and we don't have 2-hour breaks in between them, so it's equally challenging when, and I recognize that you don't have the data to back that up. So it's a struggle for me to wrap my head around that we've got either one staff member spending 6 hours out there, or 2 spending 3, or 6 staff members spending an hour out there. Without having any data, that's going to be a tough pill for me to swallow.
I guess at some time, we have to trust that the personnel in the field have a grasp of some of the challenges and the time commitments that are necessary to keep up to the standards and the quality that our citizens have come to appreciate in it. I would also say, and I've seen this personally, so our staff is not just cleaning up before, they're cleaning up after. They're running people out of shelters that want to be belligerent because they were there first, even though they didn't reserve it. Our personnel play interference on a number of different issues, and it's not just cleaning the trash, it is cleaning up the entire sheltered area before and after. So I trust that the averages that our staff is giving us through their experience, and would ask if there's any other questions from council members. Okay. Anything further? Okay. This is a continued public hearing. Is there anyone, gentlemen, that would like to provide testimony? If not, council,
Madam Mayor,
yes, Ms. Lowell Roberts.
like to move we close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing on item 7B. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All ayes.
Madam Mayor,
Ms. Lowell Roberts.
I would like to move that we support the proposed resolution for 171194 to accept the fee schedule for the picnic shelter reservation fees.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve item 7C. Any discussion? Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Cavanagh.
No.
Councilmember Mylum.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmer.
No.
Councilmember Little Roberts.
Aye.
Councilmember Borton.
Aye.
Councilmember Byrd.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Item 8 is under future meeting topics. Council, any agenda items for future meetings? I would,
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
If I may?
Mr. Kavner.
A question I guess a number of weeks ago, we had proposed the idea of a fifth meeting being a public forum for our citizens. I haven't heard anything on any progress made on that, if that's happening or not.
I don't know, was I there? I don't remember that, so if I don't remember it, I can guarantee you there's nothing that has happened.
All right.
So can I get a little bit more information? We do town hall meetings.
Very,
Was this forum on something specific?
Madam Mayor, no, it wasn't. The discussion was that it would be valuable to have an open forum outside of the town halls to allow our citizens to come in and discuss this. Sorry, I discussed this with staff. I was under the impression that it had been shared with you, it had been shared with the council president to be scheduled for a later meeting. It appears perhaps maybe lines were crossed and messages weren't relayed if you weren't here for that.
Well, I will get additional information. So I guess just to have a little bit more information, that the town hall forums are very flexible. They can be done in a number of different formats. I guess I would be looking for additional information.
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Palmer.
Madam Mayor, as Councilman Cameron had mentioned it to me, I really like the idea. I can't remember if I had made it to the last one, or whichever one was at the new elementary school. It just seemed like, at the beginning it was stated that, hey, we want this to be an interaction, and then there was a few hours of constant presentations by staff, and so Councilman Cameron had made the point that if we had, even if no one showed up and we just then called the meeting in a hurry, but to have Fifth Tuesdays as an opportunity for people we open the meeting, and then whatever they want to discuss for a short period of time to bring to our attention, with as many of us that can be here as possible, would be a good opportunity for us to have that and have it on the record, and be able to then not necessarily have not have to have staff there so much, but then we would know as a whole, we could discuss briefly and then decide, if we wanted to shoot that over to staff and see what might be able to come out of whatever it is they brought to us. If nobody shows, so be it. If 25 people show and they all have 3 minutes of something to let us know about, we'd like to hear them.
Certainly, Council President Byrd and I can chat about that. I think every time, if this is going to replace town halls or coffee with the mayor, we do have a number of venues that citizens have an opportunity to talk with decision makers, with those that they can express their opinions in a number of different ways. So these meetings, you see the number of staff that are here during the evening, after hours. We have transcription. There is a cost. And so I'll sit down with Council President, because I'm kind of caught unawares of this, and we can have a conversation and bring back further information. Okay. Council upcoming events, we have City Officials Day at the Capitol on Thursday, January 26th. That starts at 7 a.m. So for you early risers,
Where'd it start at the Capitol?
I don't know.
Said Boise Center, and they'd take buses, or you can go to the Capitol and then go back to Boise Center.
Okay, Boise Center on the Grove. So we'll get you a reminder via email. The MIAC CPR Day at Dutch Bros is going to be at 4 different Meridian Dutch Bros, all of them except the one on Fairview on Monday, January 30th. Please go and support the kids. Buy a cup of coffee, learn how to do some chest compressions, and they get credit for the CPR training. It's a great public outreach. While you sit in line and for your coffee, you are educated by some very energetic youth council members. They were trained last night, and they're excited to go out and share their new knowledge with our citizens. True Hotel groundbreaking ceremony is February 1st at 10 a.m. It's going to be, they're located on South Eagle Road. If you have an interest, we'll get you some information. I know the Chamber just put some information out as well. And just a reminder that the State of the City is February 8th at 3:59 on the nose at Meridian Middle School. And it's followed by a Taste of Meridian. So. If there's nothing further, on number 9 is executive session, I would entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Byrd.
I move we go into executive session as per Idaho State Code 74206 1D 1F.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn into executive session. Mr. Clerk, will you call roll?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Cavanagh.
Aye.
Councilmember Mylum.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmer. Councilmember Little Roberts.
Aye.
Councilmember Borton.
Aye.
Councilmember Byrd.
Aye.
All ayes.
It's south of the freeway, kind of by another.